Welcome back to another episode of Ballaholics, the show for those who simply can't get enough of basketball. I'm your host, Sam Israel. Once again, we're joined by the one and only Ian Mills. And Ian, I already know what you're thinking. I know we're going to get there. In this episode, we're basically going to cover the Yankees Rays series in the Major League Baseball League. We're going to go in the NFL. We're going to talk about Ian Mills, whose Buffalo Bills, for the first time in our lifetime, Ian, since 1995, they're the number one team in the AFC East. They have a chance to possibly win the AFC Championship. And then last but not least, we will cover the Miami Heat and Los Angeles Lakers series. Are the Heat finished? And if so, how many games? So let's just start with your Buffalo Bills. Ian, I'm going to let you go on your rant. I know you're happy. You're so hyped. So just take it away. Take it away.
Okay, so listen. Obviously, I've been a Bills fan my entire life. Seen them make the playoffs twice. And the first time I saw it, I was 17 years old. It's been a while. It's been a rough ride. All right, they're 4-0. For the first time since 2008. In 2008, they finished the season 7-9, whatever. But this year, Josh Allen is legit. He looks like an MVP candidate. The fact that he's going from 58% completion percentage to 70% in a matter of months is incredible. Mind you, he's 14 touchdowns, including rushing touchdowns. He's looked amazing. The addition of Stephon Diggs has been, it's probably the trade of the offseason at this point. If you look at the rest of the NFL right now, the rest of the AFC East at least, the Patriots, 2-2, two tough losses to two very good teams, one without Cam Newton. Patriots look good, but of course I'm going to bet on my Bills. I will never not bet on the Bills, of course, on my team. That being said, this week the Bills take the Titans on. But that being said, looks like Titans might have to forfeit the game, and then after that, if they do forfeit the game, Bills will be 5-0. After that, they will be taking on the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. Prime time, Pat Mahomes versus Josh Allen. It doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't get better than that. Call me crazy. I have Super Bowl aspirations this year. I have a deep run into the playoffs. I think they can play with any team in the NFL. I think the only team I'm really scared of is the Chiefs. And they'll be playing them in a week and a half anyway, so I'm excited. I can't wait. And the whole team looks great. The defense is shaky, of course. That happens. If you get the defense going, I don't know who's going to beat this team, honestly.
So, we're all excited, Ian, for that marquee matchup. It's going to be the matchup of a lifetime. You got Patrick Mahomes, and then you have Josh Allen. It's going to be a great matchup, Ian. I'm curious, though. Did you bet all your life savings that the Bills were going to get off to this start? And did you bet all your life savings on it?
I have bet, I will say, an undisclosed amount of money on the Bills this year, and they've given me quite the reward back. Look, if you can bet, hypothetically speaking, put all your money on the Bills this year. They're going insane. They're going crazy. I love them. I'm happy as can be. I'm proudly wearing my Bills jerseys, my Bills shirts, my Bills sweatshirts, everything. It's a very exciting time to be from upstate New York, indeed.
I'm sure you made a lot of money on your returns this year. You probably made up for the past 15 years since the last time they won the AFC East in 1995, Ian.
Yeah, it's been a tough road. I've never seen them win the AFC East. This is the best team the Bills have had potentially since the Super Bowl runs in the early 90s. I'm just excited. If Josh Allen can keep this play up for 15 years, there has to be a Super Bowl in there somewhere, right?
We'll see. It's definitely a bright future out there in Buffalo. Better than the other New York teams, the Jets and the Giants. We're not even going to go there right now. But let's go on. We're going to take a step away from NFL. We're going to go on, not to the NBA. We're going to go on to the MLB, the Yankees Rays. That is a series right now, Ian. Currently, the series is tied up 1-1. They're currently playing a game as we speak. And Ian, I want to get your thoughts, your brief thoughts just on this Yankees-Rays series. And do you have a prediction right now?
Well, I have the Rays winning the series. I have the Rays actually winning it all personally. I'm not a Yankees fan, as you guys know. I'm a Blue Jays guy, always have been. And, for me, maybe it's because I don't like the Yankees, and maybe it's because the Rays beat the Blue Jays in the playoffs earlier this year. That being said, I think the Rays, honestly, are the most dangerous team in baseball. They have a killer lineup. They have Glasnow, Snell, starting pitchers, two of the best in the league, honestly. Probably the best relief. I mean, Diego Castillo is as good of a relief pitcher as they had, and Peter Fairbanks, he struggled last night, but again, if he can close out games, be their closeout pitcher, their closer for the rest of the playoffs, I mean, I see great things for them. That being said, the Yankees are an incredible team. I mean, they have shaky pitching. I mean, outside of Garrett Cole, it's pretty tough. I mean, Davy Garcia last night was, played an inning, let up a run. I mean, he's promising, but a 20-year-old pitcher in the playoffs usually is not a great recipe for success. Jay Happ struggled last night as well. Masahiro Tanaka has struggled tonight. I mean, Jordan Montgomery, you would assume, starts game 4. And at that point, I don't know how the Rays don't take the series, assuming they win tonight. The Yankees have a killer lineup. I mean, we all know this. They have the biggest payroll in baseball for a reason. They have an incredible lineup. I mean, the fact that they have DJ LeMahieu, Luke Voigt, on top of guys like Stanton and Judge, and then Gleyber Torres is playing. I mean, this year he struggled early on, but he's really picked it up. And then Gio Urshela has really done well in the playoffs. And then you guys got like Clint Frazier on your bench. The fact that Clint Frazier is on your bench is actually incredible. That being said, the pitching and the manager perspective from Aaron Boone, I don't think is enough to get past the Rays, who, in my opinion, are the best team in baseball right now.
I don't know, Ian. You just sound like you sound like a salty fan. I know that you got us upstate New York. You have us in football. That's undisputed. Okay, you have us with the Buffalo Bills, but don't even think about the Toronto Blue Jays and the Yankees. And now I know you're rooting for the Rays because you're just a plain Yankees hater. You're a plain New York hater, Ian. I get it. But look, Ian, and to your point, it doesn't help that we're so good, the Yankees, because we have so many World Series. We're like triple the amount of all the other teams in the league. That's why, of course, the umpires have to be on the Rays side and double the batting zone, because these umpires have been absolutely horrendous thus far. And I had some things I wanted to say earlier, but I had to say that first. The umpires have been absolutely terrible this postseason for the Yankees. It's insane, it's laughable, and it makes absolutely no sense how these people have jobs. Okay, let's go on now to the Yankees-Rays series. Enough with the umps. This series for me was very nerve-wracking, but I feel like it was something that was destined to happen for the Yankees. In the regular season, the Yankees didn't fare too well. I mean, they got annihilated, lost eight games out of 10 games in the regular season, and were outscored 47-34 in runs. So going into the postseason, I was very nervous about the Yankees. Don't get me wrong, Ian. Game 1, though, it's funny because the biggest criticism for the Yankees was their lack of pitching in previous postseasons. They have the hitters, they have the sluggers, they have Stanton, they had Judge, they had Voigt, they had all these really good hitters, but they didn't have the pitching. So you would have thought that in Game 1 maybe, or in Game 2, in these games, the pitching was going to be the X factor. In Game 1, the Yankees didn't win because of their superior pitching with Garrett Cole. They won because their sluggers came through. We got sluggers in the Bronx, Ian. Aaron Judge came through in the 5th inning. And do I have to even talk about Giancarlo Stanton in the 9th inning? We were up by 1 point right now. Stanton hits a grand slam, puts us up 9-3. And that's not only good because it gave us, it solidified our lead, but at the same time, we never even throw in Aroldis Chapman. Obviously, Game 2 turned out differently. The Yankees had 18 strikeouts, played terrible. It was a strikeout parade, basically. And I'm nervous. I'm really nervous, Ian, because they lost Game 2 and Game 3. Right now, as we speak, the Tampa Bay Rays are killing the Yankees. So definitely very nervous, but I'm optimistic at the same time. I'm hoping we need to see better pitching from our pitchers. DJ Happ, wait to see better. Wait to see better from a lot of our pitchers if we even want to have a chance to win the series.
Yeah, I mean, they beat up on Tyler Glasnow yesterday and still won, which is, a pretty impressive feat. And they beat up on Blake Snell in Game 1. Right now, Masahiro Tanaka is the one getting beat up on. I mean, the Yankees, there's no exception that they can hit, that they are probably have one of the best rotations in baseball. That being said, they do strike out a lot. I mean, quite a bit. And not to mention, this is random, but I don't know how Gary Sanchez is starting at this point in front of Kyle Higashioka. I mean, strictly from not even just a defensive perspective, but Higashioka, he's been batting much better than Sanchez for a perspective where Gary has just kind of been a black hole lately. And even last night we saw it with him and Judge batting back to back, where they pretty much produced nothing for them. So that being said, I really do think the Yankees have to. Again, I think they've been beating them on pitching, but I think, as you were saying, yeah, the pitching for the Yankees has been bad to say the least.
Non-existent.
I think if assuming they lose today, down 5-1 right now in the fifth, assuming they lose tonight, if Jordan Montgomery does start tomorrow, which is the way it looks like, they would have to be. I mean, they'd have to be fortunate to win, and then maybe you get Cole for a game 5. That might even be a stretch. So we'll see. I don't have high hopes for the Yankees. I think the Rays personally will win it all. But again, that might be, as we were saying, my Yankees hatred coming.
And of course, once again, if the umpires, if the umpires want the Rays to win, they will win. Then let it be. So let it be, because I know the umpires, all at Major League Baseball, we all hate the Yankees. They all hate us because we're just so good. We're superior to any other team in the MLB in the past, forever. We've been superior forever.
Well, it's easy to be superior when you have double the payroll as anyone else, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Keep talking that. Mm-hmm.
It's facts.
Keep talking. Mm-hmm. Wait, how's Toronto doing? Did they even make the postseason?
You know what? The Blue Jays have a bright future.
How'd they do? Wait, did they lose to the Rays? They lost to the Rays?
They lost to the Rays. Just like the Yankees will be losing to the Rays.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I wouldn't sleep on this Yankees team. I wouldn't sleep on them. I would not sleep on them, Ian.
I'm dead asleep.
I would bet all your money. on the Yankees. You heard it here first, folks. Bet all your money on it. Bet all your money on the New York Yankees overcoming this series, beating the Rays, gonna win the World Series. You already know.
I bet all my money on the Rays already, so I can't be doing that.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. I see. Maybe you could hedge. You could bet a little bit on the Yankees too, and therefore you get a little hedge going on there.
I'll think about it.
I think it could work. Okay, we had enough with MLB. Now we're going to go on with our final segment of the night. The Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James carried this Lakers team on his back, winning Game 4 against the Miami Heat, 102-96. LeBron went for 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. And now they take a commanding lead.
How many turnovers did he have?
What?
How many turnovers has he had the past 2 games? Was it like 15?
I didn't even need. I'm just trying to introduce a segment, Ian. I'm just trying to introduce a segment. I was gonna just let me introduce a segment.
Okay.
Just let me. Okay. Okay, Ian. As I was saying, the Lakers took a commanding 3-1 lead against the Miami Heat. In every single previous matchup, the Lakers have gentlemen swept every single team in their path. Ian, are the Miami Heat the latest team to be gentlemen swept?
Well, I will say this. I love LeBron James. I think he is an incredible basketball player. And I think, personally, I do think he's the best player to ever play. Right now, they're not winning the series strictly because of him. I mean, Anthony Davis has been incredible. They need to give the ball to Anthony Davis. Strictly, I truly believe
strictly because of Anthony Davis. You're just going to completely ignore LeBron James.
No, that's not what I said. I said they're not winning the series strictly because of LeBron James.
Strictly, okay. I think it's because they're not winning because of LeBron. I had a problem there.
It's not just LeBron is what I'm trying to say. Personally, I think AD is the Finals MVP. Well, I guess you'll have to see Game 5, assuming they actually win the series. I think they will win Game 5. I think at this point, unless Goran Dragic comes back, I don't see too much of a change. But that being said, I really think the Heat – I mean, people are giving the Heat a lot of grief right now, and I don't see why. I mean, they didn't have – I mean, I guess they probably did have championship expectations coming in the season, but probably so do all teams. That being said, they had the media expectations for the Heat coming into the season were slim. Maybe, obviously a playoff team, but that was probably about it. So I honestly you see people coming at the Heat, and I honestly think the Heat have overperformed an incredible amount this season. I don't know why they're getting any bash, at least from a media perspective. That being said, I mean, Jimmy Butler has played his heart out, and the fact that, you're probably your next best player, maybe your third best player is Tyler Hero, who's a rookie, and you're into the NBA playoffs, you already beat the Lakers once, is ridiculous. I think this series was one of those things coming into it. Everyone was kind of like, yeah, the Lakers are probably going to take it all. That being said, I mean, the Heat, I feel like they have nothing to be ashamed of. And I feel like they probably, we'll feel that in a couple of years. But they are an incredible team, and the fact that they are even putting up a fight against LeBron and AD, with a team that has one All-Star, maybe two if you include Bam Adebayo, who hasn't played most of this series. So I mean, at this point, the Lakers are going to win, probably in 5, maybe in 6,
You think gentleman sweep then? You're saying gentleman sweep?
I'm going to say gentleman sweep. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to say gentleman sweep.
Okay.
And I'm going to say AD gets Finals MVP.
AD gets Finals MVP. We'll get to that point later on. I just want to say, I want to go back to your point and I completely agree with you. I think that the Miami Heat, well, no, I don't agree with the fact that you're saying that the media is giving them backlash because they're not playing as well. The Miami Heat, they're playing with house money, Ian. I don't think anyone really expected the Heat to put up a major fight. I think every single media outlet that I checked. What?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. No. I'm saying, like, if you look on Twitter, people are like,
oh, yeah, people are ruling them out.
I'm like, these people, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And I don't think they should. I think that the Miami Heat have overachieved in every single area this season, whether it was the regular season, acquiring Butler. People laughed at them for even acquiring Butler and thinking that they had a chance, let alone making it out of the Eastern Conference. Not only they beat the number 1 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks, went on to defeat the Boston Celtics, and now, honestly, derailed by injuries is really a prime reason why they're not performing as well. I do not believe that it'd be a 3-1 deficit they're facing right now if Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic are on the court. I mean, Dragic averaged 21 points against the Boston Celtics, and it's their depth that they really rely upon. And once again, I discussed it. I'm running for Pipe Dream this year, guys. So, by the way, side note, check me out, Pipe Dream sports section, because I gave a whole reasoning why people should not sleep on the Miami Heat, and just the fact that these guys all have a chip on their shoulder in their lives. They've all had that chip, and they've all overcome that. It's just too much. Hard work gets you to a certain area, and then you have to face LeBron James and Anthony Davis, 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. And the thing that's really surprising me, Ian, is because we all know the floor generals that LeBron James and Rondo is, and we all know the matchup nightmare that Anthony Davis poses on the Miami Heat just because of his length and just his skills. I'm really surprised by the depth on the Lakers I'm seeing right now. I'm shocked because this is something that I didn't see coming. A team like the Miami Heat, my thought was the Lakers were going to struggle because they only play really with 2 players, which is LeBron and AD. But I was wrong because Danny Green's been hitting shots. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I believe, had 15 points in their last outing. And Alex Caruso's been a contributor. Rajon Rondo has been good off the bench. So it's not just those 2 players, LeBron and AD, but it's these bench players that people aren't really talking about. They're not really getting talked about enough, which we should be talking about more. So overall, I would say the Lakers' depth and the Heat injuries to Bam and Goran Dragic, those 2 reasons are, in my book, the reason why the Heat are going to lose to the Lakers. Possibly 5 games, but I'm going to give it 6 games. I can't see Spoelstra and Butler going out the way the other teams the Lakers have faced went out.
Yeah, I agree. The Lakers' depth has been actually very good. I mean, Caldwell-Pope has really stepped up this series. You're right. He was 15 last year. I mean, he's been shooting about 40, or I think it was 38% from 3. For them to Danny Green and KCP, who have been kind of clowned this playoffs for kind of not doing much, have certainly stepped up. More KCP than Danny Green, but that being said, they both have. And yeah, Rondo for sure cannot be undersold.
Playoff Rondo's different.
I mean, he's been insane this year, especially last game. Even Dwight Howard in Game 2 was an incredible center, especially when they didn't have Bam Adebayo. So, I think at this point, it's very possible. I think it is possible the Heat, maybe get to 6, maybe even 7. But I would put my money on the Lakers winning this series probably in 5.
And you put your money on Anthony Davis being named the Finals MVP.
I would say it's close. I'd say right now they're probably neck and neck, LeBron and AD for Finals MVP. It's really going to come down to Game 5. The reason why I lean AD to LeBron is AD's not turning the ball over like LeBron is, A, and B, AD has been playing incredibly on defense. I mean, as we know, he's Defensive Player of the Year. I guess he wasn't Defensive Player of the Year, but you know what I mean, like runner-up for it. So if you look from a box score perspective, LeBron is outscoring him, I think, by a couple points, and maybe even obviously in the assist category. But I think from a grand perspective of just play, I think AD is outplaying him by the slimmest of margins. I don't think he's running away with it. I think of the slimmest of margins, AD is outplaying LeBron. Not even to downplay how well LeBron is playing, because he is playing super well. But AD, I mean, he's in his prime right now. He's like what 26. I mean, he's one of the best players in the NBA. There's nothing to be ashamed of right now. If AD were to get it.
There's no denying that. Anthony Davis right now, if he wasn't on LeBron James's team, would be an MVP, Finals MVP candidate. I agree with you. Now, I know you gave a bunch of reasons just now why Anthony Davis should be the Finals MVP. I'm just going to say this. LeBron James should be the Finals MVP because he's LeBron James. That's all there is to say. If you look at the stats, Ian, like you said, LeBron is leading in points per game. He's leading in some other stats as well. But then even if the grand scheme of it, here is why I give LeBron the nod, even if you don't take into consideration the stats. Anthony Davis is asked to take the scoring load on the Lakers. Maybe Anthony Davis is more the point of emphasis scoring-wise. Now, LeBron James, he's tasked with that as well. LeBron's also tasked with being a scorer for the Los Angeles Lakers. But he's also tasked with, unlike AD, being a floor general, being an on-court coach. That skill is super important to have. And LeBron James has been the point guard, basically, for the Lakers in this series and really this season. He's taking that load. He's taking that role of being the playmaker. So not only is LeBron scoring, but he also has to be the playmaker. He has those two roles. The mere presence of LeBron James on the court, additionally, is allowing Anthony Davis to get easier buckets, to get easier shots. And that's why you see Anthony Davis putting up the stats he's putting up. Obviously, AD would be putting up those stats anyway, similar stats. Having LeBron James on your team takes so much pressure off you and allows AD to be a better scorer. So for the statistical reasons, for the grand scheme reasons, and mostly because LeBron James is LeBron James and the best player in the NBA right now, that's why I'm giving LeBron James the Finals MVP.
I think you make the same argument that LeBron doesn't have to do as much dribbling as he has AD on his team as well. I mean, I think LeBron is being probably he is being their floor general right now. He is pretty much playing point guard. But that being said, I mean, he is turning the ball over, and I think if he wasn't, he'd be running away with it. But he is turning the ball over at a pretty high rate. So I don't know. It's going to come close. I think it really is going to come down to Game 5. So we'll see. Right now, it is tight though. It is very tight. This is also assuming the Lakers win the series. So
that's true. Both of us might be eating up our words. Jimmy Butler, I feel like if anyone's going to do it, Jimmy Butler has the guts to do it. I can see Jimmy Butler. I can see this Miami Heat team who have faced so much adversity this season. People have been so quick to rule them out. We're doing it once again. I could see if any team were to do it to this LeBron James-led Lakers team, I could totally see it being Jimmy Butler and the Heat. And also, I'll throw a little hot take out there. I don't know if I'm going to get some backlash for this, Ian. I don't know if you're going to give me some backlash. I'm not talking about like skill-wise. Skill-wise, we know. But in terms of the player right now in the NBA Finals that reminds me most of the GOAT, Michael Jordan, I would say it's Jimmy Butler. You saw LeBron talk trash to him in a previous game. Butler came right back at him. That's an MJ moment right there. I just see Jimmy Butler as having that grit, that MJ mentality, the shooting guard position, two-way player, amazingly defensively, operates in the mid-range. Just cold-blooded. I see Jimmy Butler right now being the closest player that's reminding me most of Michael Jordan.
Well, who reminds me most of the GOAT in this series is the GOAT. It is LeBron James. He's the GOAT. So I don't know why you even have this debate.
But he just doesn't have the DNA, though. He doesn't have that MJ DNA. Butler has it. James doesn't have it.
Media bias. That is ESPN force feeding you down your throat. That
they never said that.
He's different.
They never said that. That's my take.
Did you watch the documentary? The fact that
I did watch the documentary.
Huh?
I did watch the documentary, but ESPN never said that Jimmy Butler is the closest person to Michael Jordan in this series.
You say Michael Jordan is closest to or Jimmy Butler. That's fine. I'm saying LeBron James is the GOAT, period.
Oh, stop.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think that's our cue, guys.
Before we go, Rays just extend the lead 7-2, top of the sixth. Just thought you might want to know. Okay.
7-2. What inning is it in? Is it the bottom of the ninth?
Top of the sixth.
Oh, top of the sixth. So it's not bottom of the ninth. So that means we still have a couple more innings to come back like we did a couple of nights ago.
Let's see. We'll see.
A couple nights ago. Well, actually, not in this series, but I believe in the last series, the Yankees came back down. I would not rule the Yankees out, Ian. Don't rule out my New York teams. I know I got my Knicks But, I said enough. Knicks, we're not bringing up the Knicks. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Once again, gotta give myself a quick shout out. I'm writing some Pipe Dream articles this year for Binghamton, so feel free to check me out on Pipe Dream in the Sports Edition. And I'm also hosting my own radio show this semester with the WHRW, 5 o'clock to 5:30 on 90.5 FM. If you're in the Binghamton area, check your boy out. Got some good takes. Lots of NBA. Gonna cover some BU athletics, maybe some interviews, head coaches, athletes. We'll see what happens. Guys, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.
Thanks, guys.